Ladies and gentlemen, today I'd like to speak to you about university education in Quebec, and I'd like to speak to you about a special agreement which was drawn up between France and Quebec in the area of university education. It seems that nowadays there is a gold rush. The French are rushing out to Quebec in order to study at Quebec's universities. However, in this gold rush, the young people involved are not heading out to Quebec to fill their pockets with cash or with gold or with any other commodity. They want to fill their brains with knowledge, and they want to further their learning. This year there have been roughly 7,000 French students who have signed up to study at university in Quebec. This figure is much higher than in previous decades. In 1982 there were only 460 French students who went to study in Quebec. As a matter of fact, these figures have seen a constant rise since 1978. In 1978, an agreement was signed between France and Quebec. This agreement allows French students to study in Quebec, paying tuition fees as if they were a local. And of course this agreement is reciprocal, meaning that Quebecers can study at French universities paying the same as a French student would. This situation means that nowadays there are hordes of young French students who are crossing the Atlantic in their droves in order to discover this French-speaking part of North America. On the other hand, however, the Quebecers are not quite so keen in crossing the Atlantic. There are many fewer Quebecer students who want to study in France. In 1970, there were 3,000 students from Quebec in total who went to study in France, but now this number has dwindled and no longer even reaches 700. There are many explanations behind this phenomenon. Quebec universities have high standards of excellence. They are well renowned around the world. They are well equipped as well. They have excellent facilities. The classrooms are not crowded. This is quite the opposite to what can be seen in France, where often lecture halls seem to be bursting at the seams with students. As for French universities, on the other hand, they unfortunately suffer from a bad reputation in North America. It is thought that they have not much classroom space available, that it is difficult for a student to get the individual attention of a lecturer. Computing facilities are poor, and the overall atmosphere is not very welcoming. This has all meant that while the French are very eager to head out to Montreal or to other Quebec cities, the Quebecers decide to stay at home and study in their local universities. There are, of course, many Quebecers who decide to leave Quebec in order to study elsewhere. However, most of them go to the other provinces in Canada where English is the dominant language and where the universities are English speaking. If they don't go to other parts of Canada, then they are likely to go to the United States. This situation might not have been brought to the attention of the general public in Quebec if it were not for the media. The media in Quebec have brandished the statistic of a quarter of French students coming to Quebec in order to study at English-speaking universities. Of course, these English-speaking universities are all located in Montreal, which is officially a bilingual city. In these universities, students coming from France can study their lessons in English. They can hand in their assignments in English, and they can take their exams in English. However, in fact, it seems that the figures provided by the Quebec newspapers are not entirely accurate. They seem to be lower than what is reported. Only 17% of French students in Quebec actually signed up to English-speaking universities. However, the Quebecers are clearly unhappy with the situation. Why is it that they should be angry, however, at the fact that French speakers want to study at English universities? Why should they not simply allow French students to study at these universities in Montreal? Well, the first reason is that French students see these English-speaking universities as a cheap opportunity to improve on their English, whilst also receiving a university education at the same time. This means that instead of improving relations in the French-speaking world, instead of strengthening links between Quebec and France, these students are simply taking advantage of the system to improve their English. Secondly, for many years, Quebec has been striving to improve the status of the French language within its province. And it seems that, and of course if the French simply travel to Quebec in order to study at an English-speaking university, the whole of the struggle for the French language seems to be undermined. Personally, this reminds me somewhat of the language debate which is currently underway in Catalonia. However, the Quebecers maybe have it worse off. They are facing more of an uphill struggle than the people in Catalonia promoting Catalan. This is because Quebec is, of course, in the North American continent, which is one in which English is by far the dominant language, so the struggle is much greater. Many Quebecers are therefore wondering why they have to fund French students learning English. They also wonder why they have to maintain this agreement which dates back to the 1970s. It seems that this agreement is just in the name of friendship between France and Quebec. One university lecturer expressed this poignantly when he wrote an article for the Montreal Daily. He said that it was scandalous how tens of thousands of dollars of Quebec public funds are wasted on helping French students learn English. In response to these complaints, the Quebec Ministry of Education said that the agreement from the 70s should possibly be reviewed and corrected. But we have to wait and see what will come of that. Whatever happens in the end, one way or another, a solution will have to be found, and one possible solution which is being discussed is making changes to the tuition fees which students pay. However, the 1978 agreement between France and Quebec means that French students are not considered foreign students. There are three different tuition fee prices that students pay. There are firstly the highest tier, which are for foreign students. They already pay much more than the rest. They pay 13,000 Canadian dollars a year. Then the second category are students from other parts of Canada outside of Quebec. These students pay 6,000 Canadian dollars a year. Then there is the lowest fee of all, and this is for students from Quebec. And thanks to the agreement, as I said, this is also the fee which is paid by students from France. However, how much longer will Quebec maintain this transatlantic gift? Well, France has actually supported Quebec in many occasions in the past. We all remember the time when Charles de Gaulle, President of France, gave a speech calling for free Quebec, demanding for Quebec to be free. However, it seems that Quebecers are unwilling today to pay back this favour by allowing French students to study for free in their universities. Thank you.